Recording this session, as we were just told. So I'm sure this is a session that many of us have been looking forward to. The topic is girls' education in Afghanistan, and we will be hearing the personal story of Farhangais Akbari, who taught for a number of years in Afghanistan. She was born in Kabul and moved to the US in March 2020. She has a master's degree in business administration and has served more than 10 years as a volunteer with various organizations. We're really looking forward to hearing about your educational and immigration journey. So welcome.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction, Marguerite. I hope I've pronounced it correctly. Yes. So yeah, hello everyone. As mentioned in the beginning, I know some of the people here, some familiar faces again. I'm so happy to see you all again. And some other people, thank you for joining this session. And I'm really happy to share my story. And I hope you have something at the end of the session, how my journey went. I may not be able to tell each and everything because, I'm not, it's almost 30 years. So it's a lot to tell everything in 1 or 45 minutes, but I'll try to touch base on most of the areas, which kind of I remember. So yeah, so again, as you all know, this is Farhangais. Most of the people back at home and here are calling me Farah, short, because Farhangais is a little bit difficult name even in our own country. Like people were not, it was kind of not easy for them to call me Farhangais. So it's Farah. You can call me Farah as well. And I'm liking that as well. So no, yeah. So that's how, of course, I am from Afghanistan. I was born and raised in Afghanistan. Yes, like I have been abroad for a few years during the first regime of Taliban when they came. We went to Pakistan. I've lived more than, I can say 15 to 16 years in Pakistan, Peshawar. We were living there. From there, which I start kind of going to school, learning a little bit of English, because in Pakistan, they do teach English subjects. So from there, I picked a little bit Urdu, Hindi, English, and there I got to know there are Bollywood movies, Hollywood movies. So from there, so yeah, I spent some of my childhood in Pakistan. During the day, we were doing waving carpet because that was the only source of our income. So I know how to wave carpets, pure Afghani carpet. So during the day, myself and my brother and sister, we were doing waving, we were waving carpets, and we were going to school during the night time. So we were, it was a night school, not a proper school than the other kids were going, because we were immigrant, plus we had to work, right? Because my dad was the person who didn't have, he was not in the age to work, and also he was not familiar with the language and the stuff. So yeah, from there I start my educational journey. Slowly, we have been there for several years, and then when the Hamid Karzai took the presidency, when he became the president of Afghanistan, so we moved back to Kabul with all those, hope and enthusiastic that we're going back home. We have our own home. We will be no more paying rent and stuff. So yes, we went back home. It was during the President Hamid Karzai's time, and again, we kind of start living there in our own country, having educational system back. So we start going back schools, universities, courses. Of course, as I mentioned, when I was in Pakistan, there I got a little bit of English. So when I went back home, so there was, it was not only me, there were a couple of other Afghan women and men and boys. Then they start like creating small premises for the young generations to learn English languages, the ones that who were not able to go to Pakistan or to any other countries during the first regime of Taliban. So we kind of start making a small place to teach others. So from there I became in the beginning I was learning on that course. When I start learning, like I was a kind of good student, I don't know how. So they kind of choose me to become a teacher slowly. And then by that time I was learning in advanced or intermediate classes. At the same time, I was teaching the very beginner level for the kids. And that class was, of course, not only for the kids, it was a beginner class, but my students were all like, not all, but most of them were older than me. I was like this little girl standing in front of them, like speaking in English. Of course, my English was still not that perfect, even it's not perfect right now that I have studied and I've been in US. But yeah, I was kind of to communicate and write and do a little bit. So I was teaching them. And I'm sorry for this. Being a teacher, so now while I'm a teacher, so a teacher in Afghanistan was the hard thing that I have faced in my life, because first, it was not my own language to teach others. Second, I was not, a young or mature lady, I can say mature girl, to stand in front of all those men and women and girls and kids. And yeah, so I was kind of having all those problems in the learning center, outside the center, and in my family, because my family was the ones who were like not comfortable that I should stand in front of all those young men or young boys and teach them. You never know how they will react, how they will say, what they will say, how our community will react towards this. But yeah, I was like kind of, no, I have to do it, because if I stop this, I'm sure I will forget the language, and also I'll forget what I've learned through this several years that we were in Pakistan. So yeah, that was another interesting thing that slowly I get used to that. But by passing of the time, being a teacher, there were like so many offers for me that I should go for a workshop, for teacher trainings outside of the country, which was kind of for me, like, I have to do this, I have to go for this, I have to learn more, I have to do. But challenges are always there, right? And especially being an Afghan girl and not being that much mature, in my family problems that they were facing and hearing from here and there, they were not allowing me to go for all these teacher trainings and abroad especially. So I was kind of like, what to do? Should I continue teaching? Should I know? So uh, but yeah, that was the major part of being a teacher in Afghanistan, that families were not allowed to send their 16 or 18 or below that daughters abroad for teacher trainings, right? That they should have all those professional skills and come back and be a professional teacher. So I couldn't make that due to my family problems that they had on that time. But yeah, slowly I was a teacher for almost 5 to 6 years. At the same time, I was doing my volunteer thing with other senior teachers, and I was helping them with the checking the quiz papers, preparing their schedules, and all those small or big things. So slowly from there, I got to know a few other people who were coming for management meetings, like teacher training thing. So slowly I got, and I had another job offer within an organization. So I joined another organization from this teacher thing. By the time I finished my, advanced English learning thing, which I was a student, so I finished that. So I had a job, and I already I was planning to have my future, to further my education, right? So in that time, I was a school student. And then slowly, when I had a job, I was already done with my English courses, and I was done with my school. So I had a job, and I was a student of a university, not only one university. So how I got to two universities. So by passing of the time, I was thinking that, of course, if I will be, once I will be done with my public school, we study like till 12th grade in Afghanistan. And after 12th grade, what I'm gonna do, when I'm gonna do. And I was sure that my parents is not in that situation. I mean, they are not still, are not in that situation that they should help me to go to a private school, to pay for my fees and stuff. So public schools, public universities was a bit difficult on that time because there were so many students, and the public university was accepting only few students on that time because of the lack of the space, lack of the everything. So so yeah, I was kind of like, maybe I'm not one of those to get to the public school. Then I started looking for scholarship, that I should have something after my 12th grade. So I applied for some scholarship in some of the private universities. By the time I got my scholarship in one of the private universities as a to do my BBA, my business administration bachelor in that area, my bachelor in business administration. That was a plus point that I could convince my family that, see, you shouldn't stop me like from doing teacher trainings. You shouldn't stop me from learning and teaching. And now I have my scholarship for 4 years that I could do for free. And it's not in that time, it was not an easy thing for a girl to receive the scholarship, and especially from a girl like at my age, and also from the community that we belong. And in our community and in our families, it was not something very common that girls should go study, right? A girl should go for studies, a girl should teach, a girl should go out, a girl should like it was all about like boys should go, boys should do that, because of this situation, because of the Taliban, because of this, because they're the ones that one day will feed the family. Boys are the ones that's gonna have family. Female should be only the housewife. Female should have only kids, and all those other conversation that. So yeah, hopefully I had my scholarship. And I was in the very first semester of my private university when I was doing my bachelor degree. I heard from the public university that I got admission there as well. And this was again teacher training school for 2 years in a public in a public university. So it was another achievement. I was, oh my God, once there's nothing and once there's everything. What am I gonna do with both scholarship now? This is public, which everybody is wishing for, that to have a seat in a public school, right? And there's another this private university that I'm already in between of first semester. Another challenge is I had to convince my families that I will do both. And they were like, what? But no, it's not possible. No, it's not possible. So you have to choose one of them, not both. It needs stationery, it needs transportation, it needs time, and you have to help your mother. I mean, there was a lot going on that timing. So yeah, slowly, like with all these challenges, like I've convinced my family that I will do everything, just allow me to go and attend these classes, please. So yes, my family, thanks to them, they kind of like, they had to face all those challenges, like they were hearing and seeing around from my, even like from my uncles, from my aunts, everybody was like bombarding on my families, like, you, one day your daughter will be like not the one that you guys are thinking. She will not stay in Afghanistan. She will do something wrong because you, I mean, I was the one lady from my own close families that going out a lot. So they were thinking going out, learning new things is not a good thing for our families. So yeah, so I did this for 4 years, like convincing families, going, having like all those small gatherings with my classmates in a secret part that nobody should notice that I'm doing all these things, because if my brother or my families will got to know that I'm going for in a restaurant having a burger, so that day was my last day of going university. So I've done this for 4 years. This public school was for 2 years. This private one was for 4 years. So by the time I finished my public school, I already had a job. So I was going in the early morning, this private school, from 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the morning. The class was started at 5 o'clock, and 8 o'clock, from till 8 o'clock, I was going there. Of course, early mornings was another issue for my family, for everyone. So I could manage that as well, just because I used to like convincing my family slowly. More. So I was out from 4 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the night time. So the whole day I was out from family. And at that time, I didn't have a phone to communicate my families where I am, how am I. Like that was kind of a lot that my family was not expecting from me. So I kind of arranged and managed each and everything, and slowly everyone was used to all these things. Yes, I had a job. So my first job was proper job, not the a very well-paid job, I could say, like I had this teacher thing job as well, but that was not a full-time job that I should have a good salary from that. So by finishing my public school, I got a job, and I was going morning time for my private schooling, and during the day to this job, and evening I was coming home doing all those housing thing, like helping mom, doing assignments, like all those things. Yeah, so in slowly everything have done, went to all these things. So now that's the time that I've I finished my 4 years in university. I had to go further. I had to study more. So I was thinking, how should I do my master degree back at home, public or private university? So public, on that time, it was not easy for me to do, because the public schooling was, so I had to like go during the day, like for 5 or 6 hours, right? And that was not the thing that I should have done. I was not able to do that because I already had a job full time. So I kind of like look here and there, like convincing everyone, and hopefully I could convince my boss that I really want to enhance my education, but these are the problems. My family, by that time, everybody was familiar with my everybody, my whole office colleagues. So everybody was aware that how our lifestyle is, what the challenges we are facing, and all those things. So I could have kind of convinced my boss to get funds for my education for my master degree. So now my boss like in every meeting she was talking about me, like, look, we have I was as an admin assistant for an ambassador on that time. Ambassadors, admin assistant. I was doing admin assistant and also the kind of secretary to ambassador. So wherever she was going, she was taking me. I was holding her purse, like, some most of the day, and she was a lady too. Oh, and that was another plus part, that she was supporting the girls. So she was talking about me, like, Farhangais who have done this with all these challenges. So I got a scholarship. I don't know from whom. I don't know. That was just between my boss and with somebody. So I started schooling. I start my MBA again with all those challenges, with all those problems. And this was the time that I was a young lady. And now my brothers, my uncles, my dad was like, how you're gonna do this? How you will stay till night, till 10 o'clock out? In this situation, you're going like from 8 o'clock till 5, 6 o'clock for a job, and then you will go for your studies. You have to come back home. Like, it's not something, again, common that you should be out till 10 o'clock at nighttime. And especially when it was winter, so 10 o'clock was like almost midnight. It's so yeah, I've done that. I've done that with all this. Oh my god, oh my god, it's remembering me each and everything. So yeah, this is how I've done my master degree for another 4 years. So this 4 year was like the most challenging years of my life, even like from the beginning that I had those challenges. Why? Because these 4 years I was having this job. My brothers all got married, and they went like with their wife, to have their own life in several countries. I mean, one went to India, one went to Pakistan, one went to another province of Kabul, and it was me and my mother and my sister and my father, and I was the only one to survive like everybody, right? And it was, oh my god, and what I'm gonna do with all these challenges. So yes, so, oh, that dude does, I mean, all those days, all those problems slowly get solved. And then I've done my master degree during this 4 years, which I was a student of master degree and working with this ambassador. So I got to know my husband, so we got married. So again there were a lot of like back and forth, like, people were saying, and I was having all those challenges that my in-laws will not allow me to do my education. I mean, nobody was going from their family school as well, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Wherever I go, there's always like barriers in my life, barriers in my I mean, in my educational thing. So I kind of, um I don't know, somehow my husband and somebody from my family talked to them that I should, uh, further my education. So I made that as well. I got married. I had, it was almost my last semesters that I was almost 7 to 8 months pregnant. That was another not a common thing for myself, for my family, and for my in-laws. I was going to this university. There was only few females in our class. The rest, it was all boys and male. So again, everybody was like, you should take leave for another few months until you deliver your baby, because it's not, I mean, we can't accept you seeing pregnant coming doing the presentations. That was like, oh my god, it's me, myself, my body, like, why why it's a challenge, why it's problem for you all? If you don't want to have listen to my presentation, if you don't want to see me in this, then it's your own problem. Like, I can't stop. I was thinking that if I take leave for a few months until my baby should have delivered, then I was thinking that after that I won't be able to come back to university. So I was I was ready for that if I stop like for 1 week, then that would have done my last week of my university. So yeah, so I've done all these. I did my master degree slowly, and then everything got, I mean, normal. And this was not, I mean, this is not the story of only myself. I had like several other friends who were facing the same problem in a different way, from their own families, in their own community, like living in other provinces. And they were telling me that you are facing nothing, these are not a big problem, but look at us. But at some points, I mean, telling this, or telling like in a way like I'm doing, it might seem like easy, but being in that situation, it was, I mean, it was a nightmare. It was not so easy. But of course, that was the whole educational life of me till I got my master degree. I remember I was in 7 months of my pregnancy, which we had our convocation, and and my family and my husband and everybody was like, okay, at least you shouldn't go for this convocation, because this is not something normal again, because there will be families from the whole university, and you with your all this my face was like almost like this, like I had this all other problems as well. But again, that was me going to this convocation with all those other my ugly face and my big feet, like having a sandal which was from my husband or so, because my own sandal was not fitting in my shoes, in my foot. So it was a funny part again, still I remember. So yeah, that was the journey how I did my education. So by the time I finished my MBA, I was still working with this ambassador. With the ambassador, so slowly I had I had my job, my degree, and all those other small training and certifications. And during this master degree and job, I was already volunteer with this other organization, which was I was a teacher, right, in the beginning. So I didn't stop like doing volunteering for them, because that was the very first organization, or the very first I can say the very first thing that came in my life. So I always respect, and I always love the very first thing that came in my life. So yeah, I did the volunteering for them, for the whole this journey. It was not only like by the time that center has become a big center, not only a small English center. So they were doing several other staffs. So I was part of that again. So yeah, so that was the whole journey. So now it's time that I had only job, I had only one baby, and everything was normal. Going job, taking care of the baby. My baby was going to kindergarten, so that was a good time, good thing from that time. So we had this. Slowly, my husband got a job in another organization. So from where we got this special immigrant visa, so that there was another hope that, okay, we are going to apply for this. I don't know when we will be eligible to go abroad, when we will go for this special immigrant visa, because that was not easy thing for all Afghans. It was taking like several years that an Afghan family moved to US from the special immigrant visa. So again, that was another strange thing, I could say. We applied for this. We planned for another baby. We thought that, okay, we'll have another baby. We'll go with the two babies in the US, maybe another in 5 years or in 4 years. But that happened within 1 year. I was like, oh my God. But that happened within 1 year. So when we came to US, on 2020, on 2019, by end of 2019, I was already pregnant with my second baby, and we came US again. I was pregnant. I was okay. Let's do before the COVID starts. Let's move. Just because you never know what's gonna happen. So yeah, March 2020, we came here, and it was another interesting story coming here. I mean, with zero knowledge of the environment, with zero people that we didn't have anyone here. I mean, we came here to another Afghan family that we have never met them before. We don't know who they are. I don't know. My husband somehow find this family to have to I mean to keep us for 1 week or so until we find a hotel or we find our own apartment to move. So we came to this another Afghan family, and I was like, okay, who they are? Like, I don't know who they are, how we will stay there. And I'm almost like 6-7 months pregnant. And by that time, we had our own apartment. We moved there, and COVID was boom. This the very interesting part was that we went to this apartment and everywhere was closed, and we didn't have a car. We didn't have nothing, no car, no driving license, no driving permit, no one to go for to ask for help. So yeah, it was kind of challenging again here to come to the US, but we faced a lot of challenges in the beginning. 2020 was the year that I mean I had my baby delivered on the time that oh my god, that nobody was there to help me with anything. Nobody. We didn't have a car seat, we didn't have a dress for him, we didn't have a car to go to the hospital, and calling to the emergency, calling to the hospital transportation, and we didn't have our all those other official documents to use them, right? So yeah, so my baby was delivered on that timing in a COVID time. It was a nightmare. I'm happy that he is all okay and I'm okay. But yes, so 2020 went with all these challenges, like being homesick, away from family, with zero people to go and ask for help, and nowhere to know like from where to buy like food, from where to buy dress, from where to buy households. So the whole 2020 was a kind of bad year. 2021, everything got a little bit better, everything. So we had our driving license, we had a car. Oh yes, in 2020 my husband got a car, so we were so happy, we were so excited that now we have a car, we'll go around, we'll see like shopping malls, we'll see the US. People from home was calling me, hi, how are you, Farah, how do you like Richmond, Virginia? I was like, I don't know. I'm still home. I know my kitchen. I know my bathroom, my bedroom, and that's it. I don't know. I haven't been to any places, so don't ask me how I like it or how my life is here. So yeah, so my husband got a car. We were so excited. We used it for 2-3 months, and I don't know, something happened. My husband parked it in somewhere and we lost our car. We lost our car in US and in Richmond. And this was again something not normal. Whenever we were talking with people in other states that we have lost our car, it was like, what? In US? That's happening? We thought it's only Afghanistan that people are doing all those things. Is it happening there as well? I was like, we lost our car. I don't know how. So we don't have a car again. So we waited. We waited for another several months to find a nice car to have it. So yeah, we it was a lot of problems here in 2020, and so slowly, yeah. So 2021 was a good year. I met. I start like. I started certification with the USA Generation University, certification courses about some IT classes. I started doing that. I used to how to handle two babies at home now. So I used to know like few shopping malls around to go by walk or by car. So, and my husband was having a job, and we got familiar with some nice families, some nice colleagues, and one of them is just sitting here, Lena Jackson, that I got to know through Reestablish. So yeah, I talk to her like more often, like sharing all those, I mean, I can say like rubbish things or maybe useless things. I've done this, I've done that, this is gonna happen, this is not gonna happen. So yeah, so now slowly we are all good. We are, I mean, still there are challenges, there are some problems that myself and my kids and my family is facing here, my family and my husband is facing, but we are hoping for the best. Like, I mean, we are truly blessed to be here after all this what happened back at home last year. So yes, we are happy to be here, and I'm loving here a lot. I know first year was not the year that I was not telling that I'm loving it, I'm not liking it because of all those challenges, but now I'm loving it the most. Like, I'm so happy to be part of here. I mean, to live here, and the community that we are living is such a nice community, nice people, very warm. I mean, every time they see, every time we communicate, they kind of they don't give you the feeling that you don't believe that you don't belong from here, right? So that's the thing that I really love here. So yeah, so this is how we are here. And of course, my family back at home, they're still having those challenges. My brothers were working there, and now they're home. As I mentioned, my mom, my sister-in-law, nobody was working because they didn't. I mean, they haven't been to school or universities, right? So it was only my two brothers who were working, and now they're home, and they don't have a job, and especially when it's now winter time there, so they kind of having a lot. And my mom and my two brother kind of they're having depression, stress, and what's gonna happen next year because we have a house there which we don't pay rent, but everything else is so expensive there. Everything else is so expensive there, and even they sometimes they say it's like we can't find because those small shops, those um, I mean, supermarkets that they were normally buying goodies for home, they are closed now. They're closed because the owner of those shops are, I mean, they can't buy stuff to bring in their shops, right? So yeah, that problem back at home is still going on, so which kind of not allowing us here to stay and have that peace of mind here and I mean think for our life, like think something good for ourselves. And we are not in a situation to support them because we are still looking for help for ourselves. How are we gonna help our family back at home, right? So that's another thing that's not leaving us to live the I mean to live the way that we want. So this is how I mean I've been till here. Oh, so there's one thing that I forgot earlier. When I was a student in school, I got like 2-3 times a scholarship to come abroad. There was this Yes Abroad scholarship, which is I think which is still going on for some which US is offering for some countries like Asian countries and Bangladesh or I don't know where else. So I was always thinking that one day I'll go to US, maybe through a scholarship, or maybe I will get married with a man from there to go and see America. But that never happened. But yes, now I am here with my two kids, my husband. So this is how we are just, I mean, living our life here. And I don't know what's gonna happen next. I'm looking for the very best for myself, for my kids, and for my family back at home. um I think I've talked a lot. So it's now your turn to ask questions. Maybe I've missed something, so you can ask by that. Within that, it will remember me to answer, and then I don't know. So let's hear from you all. Thank you for listening all these. There's a question in the chat box. Do you have younger sisters? Or let me just scroll. Do you have younger sisters or female cousins? And do you think they will want to follow or be able to follow in your footsteps? Oh, of course, there are. Not only my sister, because I have one sister who is married, and she's having a son. But my friends and my cousins, of course, they always like tell their families, like, look, Farhangais, she has done all these with all those challenges, but now you should allow us, they keep telling their families, like, you should trust on us, because like in Afghanistan, going out, meeting female and male friends, like, I mean, going in restaurants and be walking with boys and girls on the street is not a common thing for some families, like my families, right? So that they always like they always tell that, of course, yes. And I'm really proud of that I have something back for them that they could bring as an example to their families. Thank you for listening. There's a comment there. Thank you for sharing. So yes, thank you for listening.
I had a question. I'm wondering if you think you'll be able to use your education here in this country, and if your MBA will be of use to you, or if that will help lead you into something and or teaching experiences or degree.
Yes, that's a great point that you have pointed. I am looking for that. I've already discussed this with Lena, I believe, that if she has some sources to share with me so I can transfer my educational documents. Till now, I stopped myself just because of my son, because he's only 19 months now. And I have a 4.5-year daughter, which we couldn't put her in a private school here because it was so expensive, the daycare. And this area that we are living, they don't have a public school for 4 years old. So that was another challenge that we had here during last year. So yeah, so now my daughter is gonna start school this end of this year, because she's gonna be 5. And I am trying to transfer my documents and look for a job and put my son in a daycare or something to keep him busy. I will. Thank you. If you or anybody else know that how best I can transfer my documents, please share. I would love to do that. Yes. Thank you.
We have another question in the chat. What is the way we can encourage Afghan girls in schools here?
Oh, yes. There are several ways, and still I believe there are Afghan families who moved here, but still I know few of them already that they are not leaving their daughter to go out. And even here, if their daughter going out or meeting people, or thinking about to have education, their family, just because they belong to all those old mindset, they still like stop their families, their daughters, and they still like telling them that you should have your full hijab dress, you should cover your head, and you shouldn't talk with you shouldn't talk with somebody that we don't know yet, right? Because I don't know what they think of that, but I know. And the best way here to encourage them is to to have some online classes until they should have a kind of like start trusting, start like learning. So once they came to this system, I'm sure they will not stop like the way I've done. Because yes, to put them somewhere, I mean, in a English class or in a university, or support them, I mean, in a way that they shouldn't pay from their pocket, right? Because most of the families are stopping themselves because this is like, we will not be able to pay for the fees in future or now. So that's another thing that I'm kind of thinking from my own story. Yes, so I hope I've answered the question correctly.
Yes, and Sally just brought up, but I was going to bring it up as well. We
Thank
did
you.
just have a session on credential recognition for immigrants, refugees, and displaced individuals earlier today. So I will send
Yes.
you our speaker's contact info, and after Raves ends, we'll be sending out a recording of that session if you'd like to watch as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Any other questions here? No? Great.
What surprised you most about America? And what do you think would surprise Americans most about Afghanistan?
What surprised me? The very first thing that we arrived in airport on March, when this person who was checking out all our documents, and when he checked all the documents and he shake hand with us and said, "Welcome home." And that was like, oh my God, this is such a nice feeling. That's, I mean, it means a lot. It means a lot. Like he was in a very, I mean, he was kind of long man, wearing a suit, and he checked all the documents and everything, and we were like, you know, have all those stress. You never know at what point something will come up that stop you from something, right? So when he checked, it was in Washington DC airport, and he like checked all the documents and gave us the document and said like, "Welcome home." And I was like, oh my God, thank you. So I was literally crying because of all this long journey coming here, like in the pandemic, and I was so tired, my baby, and I was pregnant, and hearing that one statement like was such a releasing thing. That was the amazing thing here that we had, and I never forget. I wish I could meet that guy again to just so yeah. And what Afghan will surprise American here? First, their dressing style. I've seen nowadays people like, we have our own traditional clothes, right? Like men and women. Although we were wearing jeans and blouses back at home, but we always had something on top, a longer thing on top of that. But here, like I can see like Afghan families, they're wearing all their burqa thing, not covering their face, but their hair and their long dresses. And the men, we have kind of shalwar kameez. The men are wearing that, going for a jogging, they're going for shopping. That's like, oh my God, this is Afghan from the dresses. It looks like these are the Afghan people. So that's gonna impress, I mean, surprise you the most.
We had a quick question from Allison. She was wondering if you helped your family economically back home while you were there and working.
While I was there?
Yes.
Yes. As I mentioned, like since I joined this organization, which I was a secretary to the ambassador, from that time I was supporting I mean, my own family, my mom and my dad and my sister. On that time, my sister was not married. So I was the one like doing, I mean, everything for my home. And when slowly, which I got married, but still I was the one like supporting my family, and my husband was supporting his own family. And sometimes like kind of both families. Yes. But now I'm not. But now I'm not. I've already, I mean, told them like, look, mom, look, my dad is no more. He passed away like 4 or 5 years ago. But my mom is there. What I've already mentioned that, mom, this is how I'm dealing here. So I don't expect anything from me until I have a job. So so yeah, so that's so who's okay, thank you so much, Farhangais. Oh yes, Nancy, yes, we talk. I remember that. Thank you. I'm happy you're here.
If anyone has other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself.
Mhm. What do you miss most about Afghan culture? Ah, I don't miss anything about Afghan culture. I don't. I'm a person like I don't miss things a lot, but of course, sometimes I miss my family. I miss, and being alone here is not an easy thing, especially for me that I had a big family back in my own family, my mother's side family, and my in-law family. So there were like two huge families. We are two, I mean, my family, we're two sisters and three brothers. And my three brothers are all married. They have their own kids. And my sister is married, who is having a kid too. And one more thing, that my family is the most small family among all my cousins and uncle. And my mom was telling that uh, when my sister, I'm the third kid of my family after my three brother, and it's me. So my mother always was telling us that when I stop like having more kids, my all other cousins family and my uncle were like, this is not our culture to have five kids only. Five is like so less. So and that is the same as that in my in-law family. So my in-law family is a big one. I have like 10, 11 brother and sister. I mean, my husband is having, I mean, 4 or 5 brother and 2, 3 sisters. So that's that's a big one. Yes. But yeah, of course, I don't miss anything rather than my family, because I'm a person to adjust and to accept what's next. I mean, what came in my way. So I don't stick to one thing that, oh, I had this, and especially about the food and stuff. No, I'm not that. I love trying new things. I love being new. I mean, being and doing and trying new things. So that's I don't know if it's a positive thing or a bad thing, but I am. And even my families and friends tell me that you never miss this, you never miss that, you never call us, you never do that. I said like, no, I have. I mean, I have to look forward. Whatever is back at home, they're there. I've lived the way I left. I've lived my life there, bad or good. I had some good memories there. I have some bad memories from there. It's all there. I will never forget it, but I'll not miss it. Yes.
Can you tell from your family if life under the Taliban is going to be different than it was last time or similar?
It is a totally different one, because last time when Taliban came in Afghanistan, we didn't stay there. We moved to Pakistan, because I had younger brother, and my brother they were not having beard. We call beard, right? and Taliban were stopping my brothers that you should have beard. And my father was like, they're not at the age that they should have beard. Like, from where I should bring beard for them? Should I like paint it? It's not gonna happen, right? So we moved just because of my brothers, because they were stopping, like they were torturing my brothers, that why you don't have beard. But this time, yeah, but this time is a different one, because they're not torturing a lot my family, because my family says that we see them every day when we go out, like even like opening the window, we see Taliban standing here and there. Before it was not like that. They were not all over. They had their special places. My mom says, and dad was saying, they had their special cars, special spaces. If something was wrong or something was like, they were coming, checking, and they were going. But now it's everywhere. You see them everywhere. In the beginning, everybody's so stressed. My family, my sister, my brother, my sister-in-laws, they were so stressed that what's gonna happen. We will not be able to get out of our room, out of our house. But they do go for shopping. But they should have like all those protocols that they have issues, like they should go with a man, they shouldn't sit in a taxi with alone. I mean, the taxi driver should, if the taxi driver is somebody that you don't know, there should be your husband or brother next to you sitting in a car, and you have a proper hijab. And so that's happening. And my mom says we are getting used to it, but of course, there's no hope. There's no hope, because this is not the life how we should like do. And they don't, and more important, there's no school, there's no university, there's no job, which is killing everybody, right? When there's no job, then how they gonna survive? It has been like almost several months they're eating from what they had at home, and now it's almost at the end of, I mean, end of everything, and they are like, what to do? That's so much like, I mean, out of imagine like how they're gonna survive in another few months or year. So yeah.
So do
That's-
they feel the need to leave, to get out of there? Or they're planning on staying?
Sorry,
Do
sorry.
they feel the need? Do they feel the need to leave, or are they planning on staying?
My family, I don't know about other families. My family, they are counting days and moments that they should find a way to get out of Afghanistan, because we have nothing back there. We have only a house, which I mentioned earlier, but nothing else, nothing, no job, no school, no, I mean, no universities. And when my sister and my mother and my sister-in-laws are not able to go out alone, and tomorrow my brother's daughter, I mean, the daughter and their daughter, which they are thinking that that's not gonna happen the way it should. So they're looking like for options to get out of Afghanistan, but how, I don't know, they don't know. And as I mentioned, like, we are not in a situation to support them. We are not in a situation to, I mean, sponsor them. And I don't know what's the best way, because we have been here like almost 2 years, and end of this March, it's gonna be 2 years of us here. But we still like, we don't know. I mean, we have to learn so many other things here. So that's a lot to explain for them, and then to help them. Of course, they are looking for options to get out of Afghanistan, because they says it, I mean, living in Afghanistan is, I mean, not gonna happen anymore. I mean, even if new president will come, new government will take place, but this is like, this Afghanistan is not a place to live anymore. Yes, that's. And there is a question here: what language do you speak in addition to English? So I know I'm from Afghanistan, but there are so many other languages speaking people there, especially from the province that I belong. We speak Hazaragi. Hazaragi is a language, this is from Afghanistan, but from a province, right? So we speak Hazaragi with our family. I know Dari, Farsi, and I know Urdu, Hindi, just because I've been in Pakistan, I have studied there, Urdu, Hindi. I've been in India for a couple of months or year, I can say. And I know a little bit of this another language, Uzbeki, and now English that I'm trying to learn. And yes, so that's how. What's the difference between Farsi and Dari? Dari is the language that we speak, Afghan people. Farsi is kind of the language that the people from Iran, Persian people speak. So Iran people are talking in Persian. So we have so much in common, but there are some main differences. Yes. Dari, Farsi, but most of the people says Dari or Farsi. Like the difference is a lot. If you go to the grammatical point, but at some points both are the same. Farsi, Dari. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much. We are at 5 o'clock.
You're
Now,
welcome.
if there are other questions that people want to stay for, or if people need to drop off now, it is 5.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
somebody has put a link in Hazaragi thing. So yeah, I am a Hazara speaker and I belong to Hazara